I'm going to proceed with the theme that, pulling off of the theme that Beth articulated, that education is a civil right. And the Lawyers Committee is one that is at the forefront of trying to establish and maintain the civil rights protections of all of our students within the public school system. The Lawyers Committee was established in 1963 under the request of President JFK. And it was created as a center that would involve the pro bono resources of the bar in order to engage and protect the rights of all individuals affected by racial discrimination. And as a result, one of the core missions and core components of ensuring that we are eliminating these racial barriers and protecting people against racial discrimination is working on education. And because we do believe education is a civil right, we fundamentally believe that it's necessary to ensure that all of our students are afforded equitable resources. And that means not only resources when it comes to books, materials, but also teachers, highly qualified teachers. Now let me kind of go into a discussion about how a couple of issues that I said that we initiated and we're working with other organizations on. I'm going to skip through my here, and I'm going to kind of focus first on the framework document that many of us prepared, including not only the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, but also NAACP, so you see the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund, National Council for Educating Black Children, the Urban League, Rainbow Push, and the Schott Foundation for Public Education. Within that document, we actually have a detailed definition as to what we believe should be supported or what we believe should be done in order to ensure these highly effective teachers. And as part of ensuring this, we state that we wanted to provide access to highly effective teachers for all students, including incentives to recruit, retain well-prepared, highly effective teachers in high need, low income, and rural areas. And of course, wraparound services. And part of that, which isn't mentioned here, is also a component of professional development for all teachers, because we recognize that this is necessary to make sure that we actually provide the resources for these teachers to be engaged and understand exactly how to properly teach our students. Now let me go back to a couple of things that also engaged the Lawyers Committee in this robust debate most recently, and that is the court case Renee v. Duncan. So this court case was brought back in 2009, as we know, by our allies, and was initially ruled against the parents because they were found that they did not have standing. And the case was brought in order to make sure and maintain that there was, in fact, not an allowance for interns to be considered fully certified within the definition of the federal, within the definition of highly qualified teachers, within the federal definition of No Child Left Behind. And they brought this because they were not getting that information within the school system to that point. And so they filed this petition. They were initially ruled against 2-1 in the court case Renee v. Duncan. And then there was an appeal. And as we know, that court case was reversed by a 2-1 margin. In fact, that was rather incredible, because it's not that normally does not happen in such a swift manner. And so what the holding here indicated that, in fact, the question at issue is the difference between the meaning of has obtained full certification in the statute and the meaning of demonstrate satisfactory progress toward full state certification in the U.S. Department of Education regulation. So that is where we were left. And of course, amicus briefs have been filed afterwards in order to support this decision and to further engage and elucidate exactly what is necessary and what is allowable for the state to engage in distributing teachers throughout the California state system. So the Lawyers Committee has been monitoring this because we do believe that it's important for parents to understand and make sure that they have knowledge and that the rights of their students are respected. We believe that is a core part of our civil rights protection of the students. And so because we had been monitoring this, we were a bit alarmed by some of the changes that were taking place in the continuing resolution. And so we wanted to make sure that we were engaged to make sure that our position was known about what actually should be a clear definition as we move forward within the Elementary Secondary Education Act. That is how the Lawyers Committee came into this, and that is how many of the civil rights organizations are within this discussion, because we engage on a variety of fronts, not simply on education, as some organizations do, but because we see this as fundamental, we cannot simply stand on the sidelines and state that it's allowable for there to be these differing definitions that in fact put students of color primarily at a disadvantage because of the high proportion of teachers that are being taught by those teachers that are not necessarily fully certified and are not as effective. But I wanted to end by stating that it is the providence and the equitable distribution of highly qualified teachers is core to ensuring that we have a civil right for all of our students. And while we think that there obviously is going to be a continued discussion about this as we move forward, we cannot allow that to be diminished, or by this discussion to be diminished by simply by the need to quickly reauthorize a bill. That would be actually to the detriment of all of our students. So I encourage everybody to look at more information within from the Lawyers Committee, but also from all of our allies. You can find the framework document that I mentioned at the website at thelawyerscommittee.org. And of course, as you see, I just realized this, we have a Twitter account. So you can Twitter us. You can look at us on Facebook, and you can find all this information, and we connect you with all the allies that are also working on the various fronts. So thank you for allowing us to be here today, and we look forward to a continued discussion on this most important issue.